Well, joining us now for more on the race, Karl Rove, former senior advisor and deputy chief of staff to President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. Iowa is all about peaking at the right time, Karl. Who's peaking at the right time in that state?
Well, if you look at the Real Clear Politics average, this is a two-man race. Donald Trump is at 32.2 in the Real Clear Politics average, and Ted Cruz is at 27. But the guy who looks like he's peaking at the right time is Donald Trump. We paid a lot of attention last week to the endorsement by Sarah Palin. We paid a lot to the attack that he has made on Ted Cruz about being a Canadian-born citizen and holding dual citizenship. But we've missed what I think is even more powerful inside Iowa, and that is that over the weekend, the state's senior Republican senator, Chuck Grassley, appeared at a Trump rally in Pella, Iowa. Now, he didn't endorse Trump, but he said nice things about him, and the mere appearance of Chuck Grassley, who is considered a saint in the state, revered by Republicans, admired by Democrats, and reelected. In fact, the Democrats can't even come up with an opponent for him this time around. He's on the ballot next year. So this was a great statement of not an endorsement of, but of the acceptability of Trump. The GOP Republican state chairman came out and appeared at a Trump rally and said nice things. And the state's very popular governor, the longest-serving governor of any state in America's history, Terry Branstad of Iowa, whom I've known since our college Republican days together, he has taken Donald Trump's son hunting and again has said good things about him. So this is all an effort by the leadership of the Iowa Republicans to protect the Iowa caucus's position as the first contest in the country. They want to make certain that they have somebody who has a real shot at the nomination because they've had a terrible record of picking the right candidate, somebody who ends up being the nominee and being the president. And these are all going to be powerful things inside the state.
You say it seems to have come down to a two-man race, Trump and Cruz. Marco Rubio is out there lurking. He is appearing today at a rally with the very popular Senator Joni Ernst there. Says he plans to spend every day in Iowa until the caucuses. And I was just talking about with Brett Baer, 33% of likely Iowa caucus goers say they could still change their minds before Monday night rolls around.
Well,
how do you assess his possibilities?
Well, first of all, he got the endorsement of the Des Moines Register this weekend, which particularly the kind of voter who would be inclined to vote for Marco Rubio, that's a big plus. And you're right, John, you and Brett were right in that conversation. If you take a look at the Iowa caucuses last time around, nearly 1 out of every 2 made up their minds in literally the last 3 days. That'll be after the debate. And 1 out of every 5 of them said they made up their mind on the day of the caucus itself. So the question is Iowa 2016 more like Iowa 2008 or Iowa 2012? Let me show you what I mean. Mike Huckabee won the caucus in 2008. He ran 5.4 points better than where he was at this point in the Real Clear Politics average. Romney ran just about where he was, 0.8% less than where he was this many days out. John McCain vaunted from a distant 5th into 3rd place by running 1.5 points better, and Fred Thompson dropped by getting 4.1% less than he had in the average. So, but it was relatively stable that year. But 2012, Rick Santorum ran 16.9% better than he did at this point in the Real Clear Politics average. Romney ran 3.5. Ron Paul, who was in the lead in Iowa, dropped out of 1st place, and Newt Gingrich, who was in 2nd, dropped all the way to 4th because of the upward movement of these two. So the question is this Iowa 2008, where these numbers are relatively stable the last week, 8 days of the campaign? There's a lot of movement underneath the surface, but it sort of cancels itself out. Or does a Marco Rubio or a Ted Cruz get a lot of boost here in the last week, particularly in those last days? The debate's going to be Thursday night, and that final tranche of people who make up their minds at the end are going to start making up their minds on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
You probably saw Chris Chaliza in the Washington Post today. Talks about the Donald Trump candidacy, says he's leading in virtually every state after the first 2. And he writes, if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire, look out. He will almost certainly be the Republican standard bearer. You agree?
I think it depends upon what the nature of those 2 first victories are. If Iowa is close, that is to say, if he and Ted Cruz are essentially a dead heat, and Marco Rubio jumps up, or somebody else jumps up into third place to sort of take the somewhat conservative lane of the primary. That could portend something for New Hampshire. I think he is likely to win in New Hampshire. If you look at the Real Clear Politics average, he's at 32.2% on the RCP average, same as he is in Iowa, but there is a close battle for second place. Cruz, Kasich, and Rubio are all within basically 1% of each other, and then you have Bush and Christie behind them in the high teens, the high single digits, basically grouped together, and it's possible for any one of those to jump up into second place. So the question is going to be, does somebody start clearing the opposition to Trump? But if he comes out of Iowa with a strong victory, comes out of New Hampshire with a strong victory, goes to South Carolina and shows real strength, and goes to Nevada, yeah, it's going to be hard for anybody to knock off somebody who has demonstrated in the first 4 contests a consistent win. The question will be, does he start moving up from where he is in the low 30s and start consolidating? We'll probably see the answer to that by South Carolina and Nevada.
And the voting starts a week from today. Karl Rove from Texas. Karl, thank you.
Thank you.